All right, Shalom. I want to start off as always, man, by giving all praises and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Racha Ha Kodash. Double honors unto the apostles, the elders, and the bishops of Great Millstone. I want to send much love unto the brothers out there doing his work in truth and sincerity. And also I want to send peace and blessings unto the believers of the hopeful elect. And in this lesson, man, I wanted to do a response video unto this video here that was put up by Redacted here on YouTube. And as you can see, the title of the video reads WHO, which stands for the World Health Organization, Pack for the Future, How They Will Control You. Now, in this video, they will be speaking about the Summit of the Future that started yesterday, all right? And they're going to give some insight to what the elites and the governments around the world plan on implementing amongst the people. And as you should know, this is something that, like me personally, I've been speaking about for the past couple of months, all right? Also, brothers, the apostle elders been speaking about this MOTB system, man. And this is a serious thing, okay? And most people are not aware of this meeting, okay? Most people too caught up on, college football or the NFL or, some BS going on, and they're not aware of what's actually taking place right now and how these nations gathering together and signing this pact for the future is going to change life as we know it, okay? This is something that I constantly say, that life as we know it is about to change drastically, okay? How you go to the grocery store and shop, that's about to change. How you deal with money, that's about to change. How you deal with the medical system, okay, with nurses and doctors, that's going to change. How you travel, that's about to change. Life is about to change drastically. And if you get a chance to read the Pact for the Future, right, the Sustainable Development Goals and different things of that sort, you will see how drastically they're trying to change everything that we know. So I'm going to play this video here, man, do a little commentary on it, and then I'll get my two precepts I have pulled up and I'll close out, man. But this is some information that you brothers and sisters should know about, okay? And you should be well aware, man, of what's happening on the planet Earth. If you don't, you better lock in, man, okay? Or not, or not. You don't have to lock in. You can continue, to pursue and do whatever you're doing in Babylon the Great, thinking you're in the truth. Go right ahead, man. But this is going to catch a lot of you so-called brothers and sisters out there who claim to be in the faith, man, who got one foot in the truth, so-called, and one foot in the world. For you guys who are lukewarm, right? You're half-asses. This is going to catch you by surprise too, man. And some of you call yourselves prophets, right? A men of the Lord. This is going to catch you by surprise too. But good riddance, man. That's on you, okay? That's on you, man. If you're not locked in the spirit, it's a lot going on right now, man. It's war happening right now in the Middle East, man. If I'm not mistaken, I just read an article, or no, I saw a video of Israel bombing Lebanon. It's going down, man, Now, I'm not going to sit up here and stunt or lie like I, haven't been trying to check out other stuff. I watch football, I love watching football, man. I like it. I like boxing, right? I just watched Anthony Joshua fight Daniel Dubois. So I catch things here and there, man. But I don't let it get the best of my day, I love college football, man, but I can't sit and watch that shit all day. I have to tend to the Lord's business. You know, I got to check news here and there. I'm checking for videos here and there, man. Now, it's impossible to be in the spirit 24/7, but you got to make sure that you're constantly checking things, man, because a lot is happening right now. Okay, a lot is happening, man. And once again, life as we know it is about to change, bro. Watch and see. So they're gonna cover some of these things here in this video, man. And I pray this is edifying. All right. So here we go.
Well, most Americans have no idea what's happening right now in New York City. Over the weekend, the United Nations member states are gathering in the Big Apple at the UN headquarters for the historic Summit of the Future, as they're calling it. Their intention at this summit is to sign what's being called the Pact for the Future. So these globalists are getting together and signing something that perhaps you didn't sign off on. What's actually in this Pact for the Future? Let's ask Derek Brose, investigative journalist from The Last American Vagabond, who's been in New York and covering what's going on at the summit, and is going to break this all down for us. Now, you've been covering this for a few months, looking, Derek, at the previews, the draft resolutions of this Pact for the Future. Why should we be concerned what these guys are voting on right now?
Yeah, thank you for that, Clayton. So the reason Americans and really people all over the world need to know about this is because in minor resistance way, all of the major nations you would expect are on board. The Pact for the Future is calling for a few main things. The first part is to include an emergency platform, and this emergency platform would allow UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres to declare an emergency at any point. It's very similar to what we saw in the language of the pandemic agreement, the pandemic treaty that people...
Right. An emergency agreement. In other words, as he's going into, if another so-called pandemic happened, guess what? They would have the power to shut down the whole world and to enforce more draconian laws. During this pandemic, all right, of the C-19, you saw how certain places was closed down, but you had essential workers working, right? You can do this, you can do that, 6 feet mask. Those were baby steps to much harsher laws that's going to come. Now, what pandemic they have in their pockets to pull out to the people, we don't know. But they're not just signing this agreement for anything, okay? If they're signing an emergency agreement, okay, they got something planned, bro. Esau just, look, he don't just do shit just to do it, okay? He got something planned, bro. What it is, we don't know. But it's going to be something that's going to be global, more than likely. And they're going to shut the world down, and this time it's going to be very harsh. So there's something that they got going on in this Pact of the Future, right? An emergency agreement. So here we go.
People were resistant, but unfortunately there's less awareness about this. What the language says specifically that if there are quote global shocks which shock multiple regions of the world, then they could invoke this emergency platform, which would give the UN more powers to act. Now, what exactly would come from that, we don't know, because unfortunately we have seen 3 drafts that have been released previously, the most recent one on August 27th. But as of this recording and as we're going into the summit, there has been no final version released to the public. And I think this is being done on purpose. So that's one, of the scary, worrisome aspects is we're not even seeing what they potentially sign, even though we really have no say. These people are unelected. So they're not even letting the public know what's going on. But the versions we have seen before specifically state that there needs to be an emergency platform. And when they talk about shocks, this could include a new claimed pandemic. This could include war, economic turmoil, famine. Really, it's an endless. Obviously, climate change is on that list, but it's a pretty endless list of whatever they want to claim. They then invoke this emergency platform as part of the Pact for the Future. And then what comes next, none of us really know, but definitely what they are trying to do is to give the UN more power. There's discussions around UN 2.0, that it's time to remake the UN because, we're at the 80th anniversary. We're nearing the 80th anniversary of the UN, and it's just not doing what it used to do. There's also, of course, this whole thing is a major push towards a global government. They don't like to use those terms. They prefer multilateralism or global governance. But
right. A global government. That's a one world order. Okay. That's the NWO. This is where we're heading to, man. Okay. You better prepare your mind, bro. Every single nation will be under this government. We will all have the same laws, the same rules. We will all have the same financial system. Okay. He's going to speak about that. You watch and see, man. This shit finna get real, dog. Okay. They're doing this right now. They're having a meeting right now in New York. Okay. While the world is just lollygagging, eating chips and shit, just playing around. They in there signing shit. They're planning shit. They finna shake up shit. Okay. And when this hit, it's gonna catch a lot of people off guard, man. Even some you guys and you gals who claim to be in the faith. You fucking watch and see, man. Here we go.
But at the end of the day, it's the same thing. It's a more empowered UN to act, to compel nations to do whatever they want. And so we might see some major steps towards remaking the UN this weekend as well. And then the other important aspect that we can get into further is the financial aspect. They keep discussing the need for a new Bretton Woods moment. And of course, Bretton Woods is the post-World War II creation of the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank. Those are known as...
Right. You know some history on that, right? They need another event like that, okay? And old girl, Whitney Webb, right? That Edomite chick that brothers be responding to. She spoke about that. She said, more than likely, the elites will come with another World War II type of event, okay? A global event to where they can bring in this new financial system. Now, what they're going to bring in and what they're going to do, we don't know. But you can bet your bottom dollar they got something in store to have an excuse to bring in this new financial system, which will be a global system, okay? The Bible calls it the MOTB system, right? That's in the actual pack of the Summit of the Future, man. Okay, I did a video on it. You know what? I'm going to go to it. I'm going to go to it, man, so that you can see it for yourself. Okay? I'm going to go to it, man. I'm going to my channel here. I'm going to my channel. And I'm going to click on it. All right? Summit of the Future. So go right to the video. Right? So right here. Precept. Okay, go to the next chapter. Okay. The world. Hold up. So as you can see here in the video, man, I'm going into this document. All right. I'm going into the document here. So I'm going to play this portion again. All right. I did this before, but I'm going to play it again. So here we go, right here. All right. And he mentioned in there, right, if you go to it, he quoted this here. It says, Summit of the Future, what would it deliver? Okay. So if you click on the material here, right, the information, and if you scroll down, right, oh, my bad. If you go here, right, this is what he quoted, where it says, here. Hold up. Let me see if I can. But this is what I'm reading here, right? It says a global financial system that works for all. That's what I wanted to focus on, right? A global financial system, meaning where everybody around the world will be using this same system, okay? Take a wild guess what that system gonna be. The MOTB, man. Let's go to the precept. Right, so I went into that document, okay? This video came out, I did it 4 months ago, all right? And I spoke about this stuff. So I've been speaking about the Summit of the Future, man, for a couple of months now, longer than 4 months, okay? Every chance I get and it comes to my mind, man, in a video, I try to talk about this stuff, man. And now we're here, okay? As you can see, the title of my video, I got Summit of the Future, September 22nd, 23rd. Now, this is the official date for the meeting, okay? But they have activities going on, which started on the 20th, which was yesterday on a Friday of 2024, right? But it's a 4-day thing, okay? So from the 20th to the 23rd, they're meeting and having this stuff, bro. A global financial system that works for all. This is being talked about at this meeting, man. So the Bible is true, okay? The scriptures and prophecies are true. We finna get ready and see a new change, man. How we use money, how we deal with money, that's about to change. It's all finna go digital, okay? Those central bank digital currencies, that's about to be implemented. Digital IDs, that's about to be implemented. A carbon footprint, that's about to be implemented, man. And he's going to cover these things here in the video, all right? So here we go.
Known as multilateral development banks. This language of the draft definitely says we need to empower and to increase and to transform these multilateral development banks. And for those who know the history of this, or if you've read John Perkins' Confessions of an Economic Hitman, you know that those banks have been used to rob and extort third world developing countries around the world for decades now and get them in debt and take their resources. So they want to inject more financial resources into this. And part of that as well is to transform the financial system. In my view, this is just another step of the Great Reset that we saw announced in 2020.
So many things to unpack here, Derek. I want to let's touch on the financial piece of this. I think you're absolutely right about this. As we see this past week, of course, the Fed rate cuts in the United States, this is the decline. This is really, to my mind, the end of the Bretton Woods Agreement in a lot of ways. You're seeing, of course, the moves towards BRICS currency right now move away from the United States dollar as the hegemonic power to bully, to use the IMF, the World Bank, to bully nations around the world. And a lot of countries have had enough of this, and they're moving away from this. So it'd be interesting to see the players behind the scenes here at the United Nations, who's trying to push and make this push for maybe a Bretton Woods Agreement 2.0. Is it the United States? Is it Russia? Is it Brazil? Is it the BRICS nations? I think this is a really interesting piece of the puzzle here. What do you make of that?
Well, you're correct on including the BRICS conversation there, because next month will be the BRICS summit, which we should keep our eye on as well.
Right. The BRICS summit coming next month, Lord willing, I'm gonna be on top of that. Okay. I'm trying to catch everything, man. All right. I want to tune in and log into everything. Okay. So the BRICS summit is coming next month. I'm gonna try to do a video on it, Lord willing. All right. But here we go.
It does seem from some of the players that there is an effort to push away from the U.S. being the singular power driving force within the UN, and depending on your perspective, that might be a good or a bad thing. But I do think that that's part of this effort. There, many of the discussions and the conversations I've watched leading up to the summit have been about trying to give voice to other countries. And, that doesn't inherently mean anything negative per se, but I do think it is a shift away from trying to have the US being the only controlling power. Now, of course, if that goes towards China being the controlling power, then that could be problematic. And I don't think overall, though, whether it's the UN or the US driving the vehicle, or China driving the vehicle, or Russia, that it's going to be good for the average person on the ground level.
Well, and the average person on the ground level, when it comes to these crazy climate policies or whatever lockdown procedures they want to put in place for their next pandemic piece of the puzzle, it's only going to benefit the elites, and we will all be screwed as a result of it. So I was going through the draft resolution of the August 28th, most recent draft resolution of this pact for the future. And of course, they want to accelerate the Paris Climate Accords agreement, trying to push for this reduction of 1.5 degrees Celsius, even though there's zero evidence that would in fact be bad for the Earth, and in fact zero evidence that we're even going to hit a sort of a disastrous moment. We have this world doomsday clock that the King Charles stood behind and rolled out, that in like 7 years or whatever, we're going to hit doomsday if we don't get back this 1.5 degrees Celsius. So they want to accelerate that plan for all of us. What will that mean? I mean, what will that mean for the average person traveling? Carbon passports, like what is your carbon footprint? Oh, you've traveled too much this month. That's where my mind goes.
I think that's absolutely where this is going, Clayton. And you mentioned King Charles. Well, I should remind everybody that back when he was Prince Charles in 2020, he was part of the initial announcement of the Great Reset, as well as the head of the IMF. This is, as I said, just a continuation of those same policies, and climate change, the climate narrative absolutely factors into this. I'll also mention that some of the key players behind this who are going to be present would include the World Economic Forum as well as the Club of Rome. They have been calling for the UN to declare a planetary emergency as part of the Pact for the Future at the Summit of the Future. Again, we haven't seen the final language to know if that is going to be included in there. We know there's a discussion of an emergency platform, but the Club of Rome has been calling for a declaration of a planetary emergency since at least 2019, before COVID even happened. And they've been through the various funding mechanisms. There's an organization called the Stimson Center, which is funded by the Rockefeller Foundation and the Gates Foundation and others, the Climate Governance Commission. All these bodies have been calling on the UN to declare a planetary emergency at the Summit of the Future. That, to me, is the biggest concern. I don't know if it's going to happen just yet, but they absolutely are trying to say, look, we're already in that state of emergency. Go ahead, declare it now. And then again, who knows what powers they try to grab once that happens. You sort of hinted at some of those things: carbon wallets, limiting of movement and limiting of what you can put on your dinner plate, things like that. We know those things have been discussed and are on the table. I fear that if this does go forward, and of course, there's not too many people paying attention to this. I'm searching every single day, even in the corporate media. It's almost as if they don't want to even talk about it until it's done, so the public doesn't have a chance to sort of rally and push back. But that's part of why I'm going to New York City, to be there live in person reporting. I will actually be able to be inside the UN building for at least 2 days. I did get access.
Real quick, as it's going into, man, most people don't get the scoop on things unless the corporate media talks about it. If the corporate media, don't speak about it, they won't know. If somebody on social media don't post it, on Instagram or something, they wouldn't know. Because most people don't look up and search things, okay? They ain't searching, they ain't looking, right? You got to search things, man. Look up things, okay? Listen to these elites when they speak and bring up certain words, right? Certain points. Go to their websites, okay? I try to go to every website that these elites have. Try to read through documents, try to get some update on something. Listen to all their videos. I'm listening to everything, okay? And I'm comparing it with prophecy, right? But once again, if it's not in the corporate media, they don't know. Mainstream media don't talk about it on CNN or Fox News. People don't even know about it. Right now, you can go on the street right now and ask people, hey, look, man, do you know about the Summit of the Future? They look at you like, what the hell wrong with you? What you talking about? They have no clue what it is. But anyway, here we go.
And we're going to be rallying outside the building. But I think it's purposely being downplayed and ignored, except for those sort of key players who are kind of already in that world. But the public at large has no idea this is even happening.
Well, hopefully we can bring some awareness to this a few days ahead of this summit in New York City over the weekend. I'll get you out of here on this, Derek, which is the pandemic piece of this. So we talk about the global health emergency. They're going to declare a global financial emergency. They'll declare a global environmental emergency. And then, of course, they'll declare a global pandemic emergency for new lockdown procedures and all of this. And this is why they were keeping, of course, the WHO's latest pandemic treaty quiet, and we weren't allowed to see draft resolutions and changes to the WHO pandemic treaty ahead of time, right? It was sort of like almost released right at the day they were voting on these things. So we didn't get advanced copies for a lot of these things because they were deeply troubling and deeply worrying. Do you think that's what's going on here as it relates to global health emergency?
Absolutely. I think it's the same tactics that they are trying to keep it under wraps. And, thankfully, there is, as I kind of alluded to earlier, some pushback from some of the developing nations. I wouldn't say they have the same concerns we have, but there definitely are developing nations, Cuba and some African nations that I've seen who have spoken up and say, we're being totally ignored. Our voices are not being heard on this. Now, that doesn't mean they're not going to sign, but I do think that this late release of the draft, if we even see the final version before it's signed, is so that there can't be enough time for people to kind of put up resistance and organize against it. And I do want to mention this just for anybody at home who is maybe feeling disempowered and wants some solutions. I'm going to be in New York City with an activist named Dan Aston Gregory, who's coming out from the UK. He's a great guy. He runs the organization called Free Humanity. People can go to freehumanity.org/pact for the future. And there's just a simple petition that they've put together. More than a petition, it's a call to action and just calling for organizations, journalists, media outlets, etc., individuals to put their name down and say,
hey, look, man. Hey, look, hey. Unfortunately, my nigga, there's no rejecting this, okay? This is biblical prophecy, man. I understand the movement, what you're trying to do, player. Okay, but there's no rejecting this. Prophecy gotta be fulfilled, man. I know what they're coming with is messed up. It's messed up, man. What they're trying to do. But the word of Yahweh has to be fulfilled. If these things don't come to pass, we can't get the kingdom. Let me say that again. If these things don't come to pass, we can't get the kingdom. The scriptures must be fulfilled, man. They have to bring in the MOTB system. They have to bring in these draconian laws. We need this to happen, okay? So here we go.
We don't consent to this. We don't abide by whatever the UN signs. That's something people can get behind. They can put a little action. The other thing I'll just mention briefly, Clayton, is that the weekend after this, we are organizing what we call the People's Reset. We're calling it Our Summit for Our Future. It's a 3-day event live in the UK, but it's also going to be streamed for free on our website at thegreaterreset.org. And for 3 days, just like they're meeting for 3 days, we're talking about solutions, but instead of from the technocratic top-down control paradigm, we're talking about bottom-up solutions, growing your own food, getting off big tech, mental, physical, spiritual health, all the different things that we think can actually empower people now so that we can put our mind and our focus on what we want our 2030 to look like instead of just only reacting and responding to what the UN or the World Economic Forum are doing, kind of inviting people to take the power back into their hands and really see how we can proactively drive our future. So people can check that out at thegreaterreset.org. It's happening the 27th to the 29th of this month.
Wonderful. So many of our audience says, this is so frustrating. What can we do? Well, here's something that you can actually do. You can be, a citizen activist and take to the streets. You can be a part of this, sign this petition, activate local media, talk to local politicians, make them aware that this is even happening. It's amazing that the UN is keeping this entirely quiet. And in the rumblings of a UN 2.0, like what does that look like? That's unbelievable. Derek Brose has done some great work on this. We really appreciate it, Derek. Be safe there and check back with us as the summit unfolds. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Clayton.
All right. So that's the video, man. And that's some of the things that they will be talking about at the summit. Certain bills they're going to sign. This is real. So I got 2 precepts here. First scripture I got is Psalms 140, starting here at verse 1. It says to the chief musician, a psalm of David, deliver me, O Yahweh, from the evil man. Preserve me from the violent man. And this is what we're asking in the spirit, man. It's for the Lord to deliver us and to preserve us from this devil. Those of us who have the spirit, man, those of us who have understanding, we know what Esau coming with, bro. It's going to be harsh because prophecy tell us that. Okay? It's going to be very trying. All right? It's going to be a test unto your soul. Our Lord Yahweh said it's a great time of testing. All right? A great time of testing. And that meaning that it's going to be damn near, damn near converting you to Esau's system, man. Our livelihoods is going to be on the line, man. Right? Just think about your living situation right now. You got your house or your apartment. You're able to pay for things and do things. And Esau isn't forcing you like, hey, look, either you take this or you won't be able to pay for your rent, all that stuff. Where we're heading towards that. The mark of the beast is either you bow down to Esau and accept that MOTB, or you're going to be homeless. No access to Medicaid, no access to food, no access to travel, no access to anything. I want you to really think about that. In the MOTB system, you will not have access to anything unless you bow down to Esau. And that will give Esau the power to know, okay, this who is down for us and this who is a rebellion. Okay? He's going to know. All of us have social security numbers. Okay? They will know who hasn't accepted it. All right? They will know. They got your social security number. So you can't say, oh, well, I got it. Nuh-uh. They're going to know. So we're going to need the Lord to do something very miraculous, divine intervention, to deliver us and preserve us from this man. Because if not, you're going to be consumed. All right? Reading on, it says, which imagine the mischiefs in their heart. Continually are they gathered together for war. Not only World War III, but they're gathering to have war with the people, man. To get you to submit, right? To acquiesce to their demands and their wants, right? Verse 3 says, they have sharpened their tongues like a serpent. Adder's poison is under their lips, Selah. Keep me, O Yahweh, from the hands of the wicked, meaning protect me, guard me, right? From the hands of the wicked. Preserve me from the violent man who have purpose to overthrow my goings, okay? That pact of the future, that summit of the future, man, is a meeting, a summit to overthrow your goings, right? To change your life drastically, man, and make it to where you can't function without them, okay? It says, the proud have hid a snare for me and cords. They have spread a net by the wayside. They have set gins for me, Selah. I said unto the Lord Yahweh, thou art my God. Hear the voice of my supplications, O Lord. O God, the Lord, the strength of my salvation, thou hast covered my head in the day of battle. Grant not, O Yahweh, the desires of the wicked. Further not his wicked device, meaning his wicked plans, okay? His wicked purposes, lest they exalt themselves, Selah. So we're praying to the Lord, man, like David, not to grant Esau his desires, man. Now, he will get the chance to see his people, all right? He will get a chance to get his system up and running. But we know, according to Job chapter 20, that he won't get it like he wanted, right? It says in Job chapter 20 that when he's about to fill his belly, right? It says, then the Lord will rain fire pretty much on this man. He's going to destroy him. So Esau won't get this thing how he really wants it. But he will get a chance to see his people and to implement his wicked devices, okay? So, oh yeah, verse 9 says, as for the head of those that compass me about, let the mischief of their own lips cover them. Let burning coals fall upon them, right? Destruction, man. Let them be cast into the fire into deep pits, that they rise not up again. And once Esau fall, he will not rise again. Okay? He will not rise again, man. He going into captivity. Okay? That's his end goal. His end goal to be a damn slave. All right? And look, we're going to whoop his ass in the kingdom. Okay? Something special. Verse 11 says, let not an evil speaker be established in the earth. Evil shall hunt the violent man to overthrow him. So the Lord gonna get this nigga, man. In so many words. He gonna get him, man. So I'll get one more precept here. And I'm gonna close out. This is Ezekiel 33 and verse 30, NLT Bible. All right, it says, son of man, your people talk about you in their houses and whisper about you at the doors. They say to each other, come on. Let's go hear the prophet tell us what the Lord Yahweh is saying. So my people come pretending to be sincere and sit before you, right? Pretend to be sincere. Pretend like you're down for this thing, but really you're unsure because you don't have faith. But you'll listen, you'll listen. Yep, con, yep, sure will. Yep, That's Jake all day long. It says they listen to your words, but they have no intention of doing what you say. Their mouths are full of lustful words, and their hearts seek only after money. You are very entertaining to them. And this is something that the Apostle Rumlob loves to speak about, man. How Jake tuned into this thing only for entertainment purposes. Some Jakes, okay, not to grow, not to get better, not to get closer to the Lord, but just for pure entertainment. Jake loved the back and forwards, and the cutting, you're right. Look, hey, Jake loved that stuff. But growing in the spirit and truly getting closer to the Lord, that's boring to Jake, right? It says, like someone who sings love songs with their beautiful voice or plays fine music on an instrument. They hear what you say, but they don't act on it. But when all these terrible things happen to them, as they certainly will, then they will know a prophet has been among them. So once these things come, right, these terrible things come, and Jake get jacked up, they will know that the prophets of the Lord has been among them, has been giving them warning the whole time. But they refuse to take heed, man. So guess what? Your blood be up on your own head. So I'm going to close out with that, man. Lord will was edifying. I'll praise you, how by Shema Shai, by Shema Chakadash. Shalom.